I've said many times that templates are a game changer. They are reducing the cognitive load of like new ways of doing things for students, and they're saving time for educators. Win-win. And today we're going to talk through some structural supports and templates for inquiry routines. If you're new or used to inquiry, but you want to just kind of freshen things up, tighten things up, and just save yourself some time and some students like some cognitive space, let's dive into the inquiry routines. Content agnostic, grade agnostic. Of course, you can kind of personalize them for your own thing, but we're going to go ahead and link these in the description for the video, and you can personalize them to your heart's content. So here we go. Launching the question. These all come from the three routines come from, and some of the images come from Investigating History Curriculum, which is the Massachusetts State's framework and curriculum for history for grades 3 and 4. A lot of these images are from, but I've used a lot of these templates in grades 5, 6, and 7 as well. I think they could be used beyond. So, okay, launching the question. What does that mean? That's the first thing we do in a cluster of lessons or a unit. We spark student interest with something. We introduce a key question for the unit or the set of lessons. They often call a cluster in this curriculum. And then we create an inquiry chart together. So here are some questions we want to explore, and then we'll note our learnings as we go. Asking questions can be a challenge. This is one of the pieces of feedback that teachers across the state using this curriculum have given us. And one of the things I think is helpful are, yes, sentence starters. We can totally use these. These are from the curriculum. But also, what do we care about? What means that the question is meaty? Because a lot of people will say, well, they're not asking a really good question. What is a good question? So certainly you can kind of construct with your students some, highlight some really great questions that you all love, and then kind of organically construct a list of what makes them great. But I also think you can do something like this where you have a mnemonic based on 4 things that are important to you, and you have a visual with each one. So for example, here we have pick, power, interest, causes, and compare. And so just having these front of mind when students are grappling with questions to ask. So I'm introduced and sparked interest around this society. I get an image of a map and maybe like a short blurb, a paragraph about the people in the society. Maybe my questions are around like the values of the society, or oh, I read about this thing, I wonder what caused that to happen, or I'm going to compare it to my lived experience in this society, or I'm wondering whose voice is the most powerful here. Are there groups of people that are closest to power or further from power? Another template for this is what kinds of questions you may want to ask. So this is GRAPES, a common framework in like middle school social studies, geography, religion, achievement, politics, economics, or social structures. So getting at some of the same principles. Again, I would just pop these slides in anytime you invite students to generate inquiry questions. Here's another one. This is a common cue chart. So choose a word from this first column and then from the first row. And this will kind of tell you kind of which level they're at, not to dissuade students from asking any particular level, not better or worse, but just kind of wanting to get a diverse range across levels. There's also a QFT formula that you can certainly use. I think it's fine. I wonder about these prompts being maybe the first step and then going to the QFT. So that's just brainstorming, improving the questions with some directive, and then prioritizing the questions that are most interesting. Now, after this, we're going to investigate some sources to answer the questions we have. So we're going to observe the type of document. We're going to read it or consume it if it's a photograph or multimedia, audio, and then we're going to connect. How does this source answer our inquiry question or the larger unit question? And also, how does it connect to our lives or some of the frames we're using? So these are some common questions pulled from the curriculum and adapted and added to what's in the curriculum. You can have students discuss in groups about the source. You can investigate kind of what is it telling us, what are the key ideas, and then finally connecting, right? Like talking about point of view. Is there credibility? You could totally use this with something like a news source from today as well. And then we need to put it all together and go back to that question and answer it using evidence from the source or sources we explored. One cool idea is to use a discussion diamond. I'll talk about that in a moment. You might also have students write about it. So whether they're writing or talking, we're kind of reviewing as a class, what sources did we investigate? Did that help us answer our question? And we could go back to that wall chart or that inquiry chart. Discussion diamond is probably the preferred protocol of this curriculum in grades 3 and 4. Love it. It works with writing and speaking, which is kind of cool. So groups of 4, each person has kind of the corner of one page, or you can make it big like a chart. You could write on stickies. They summarize their answer to the question, pulling in whatever evidence they learned about, and they each write maybe 1 to 2 sentences here, and then they each share verbally and expand upon their written ideas, and then synthesize and write in the middle. So there's a kind of slide with activity stuff. Save yourself time, save students the cognitive challenge. Go ahead and make a copy of this. Links in the description. Personalize it to your students, your grade level, your content area, and have some fun with it. Get excited to deepen students' critical thinking skills, and let me know how it goes.